Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United Transfer News Daily this Tuesday morning, where we give you all the latest transfer news and give it that real fan opinion. Lots to talk about. We are starting to come towards the end of the European leagues now, and what you're getting is a lot of loose-lipped chairmen and agents as they manoeuvre to get their clients up to the top of the list so they can get a little bit of money in. It's a big summer for a lot of clubs, and there are clubs like Lyon with Ndombele and Lille, who I mentioned yesterday, who, they do survive off selling their assets for as much money as they can. And I think Lyon have started that ball rolling with Ndombele. Some really interesting things said about him. Maybe Manchester United involved. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I must start off with Carrasco, because I know I can almost hear you all shouting at me at the screen. Carrasco, you've put the Atletico Madrid badge next to him. And I have done that on purpose. I know he plays in China at the moment, but I think when you look at Carrasco as a relevant player for Manchester United or Arsenal or wherever he goes, you've got to remember what he was at Atletico Madrid. You can't judge him on what he's done in China. Although, I can hear you shouting at me again. Oh God, I'm getting an earache. You don't want Carrasco, Mark. You've said he's a mercenary. And I have said that. I mean, I must say, Carrasco played for the World Cup in Belgium. No, he didn't. He played for Belgium in the World Cup last year. He played in a very good Atletico Madrid side. And when he was at Atletico Madrid, many of you said, oh, what a good signing he would be. He's quick, he's skillful, he gets lots of assists, he can score goals. He's a really good player. But what I said is, I don't understand how a player, because he's 25 at the moment, so 24, 23 was he when he went to China? I don't understand how a player who plays for Atletico Madrid, a very loyal team, a very well-disciplined team, a very hungry team who are going against the odds like Real Madrid and Barcelona, how does a player who's part of that, a Belgian international, get it in their head that going to China is a good thing? And with all due respect to Chinese football, the perception from European fans is that players who go to China are going there for massive money, which is absolutely fine, but it is not a competitive league. I don't even know what the equivalent of the Chinese league would be over here. Maybe Celtic could beat them. I don't know. I imagine the Scottish Premier League's better than the Chinese league. So I do get it, but if it's that simple, then why would we want Carrasco at United? Because I think it betrays something United don't need. Now, if Carrasco wants to go to China as a Belgian and in his mid-20s and he's not even in his prime to get a load of money, that's up to him. It's his life, it's his career, and if it's all about the money, that's fine. But Manchester United don't need players like that. And maybe he sees it as a mistake. Maybe he thinks, well, I shouldn't have gone there yet. Maybe I should have waited till I was 30. But it does betray, I think, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite, the mentality of a player to leave, 24 or 23 and go to China just for money. You're basically, the way I interpret it, that's the opportunity to be playing high-end European football in a short career, and you go to China to earn a load of money. I just don't agree with it. So I don't really want that sort of a mentality at Manchester United right now. I think in different circumstances he might be a half-decent signing, but Manchester United need grafters. Manchester United need people who are going to come to this club as a step up and be hungry to achieve and improve themselves. I don't think Carrasco offers that. I mean, how much would he offer? How much is he available for? People seem to think he's available for 20 million. Why would Chinese clubs pay somebody so much money and then let him come back for free or very little money? I think 45 million is right for Carrasco, 25 years of age. I say it because he can play on the right wing. That's probably his best position. He can play a number of positions, and he has been linked to Manchester United a few times before, quite strongly in January when his wife got loose-lipped. None of that. She mentioned Manchester United, his wife, but I think maybe they're desperate to get back from China because although you get good money, maybe it's a totally different lifestyle that they don't really feel comfortable in, and they want to get back to Europe. I don't know. But certainly I think he's a name worth mentioning because you just never know with Carrasco. Definitely wants to come back from China. Right winger, United need one. He is experienced, isn't he? So keep an eye on that. I mean, I don't know what you think. Would you like him to come to United or not? But let's talk about Ndombele. Ndombele, I think we all want Ndombele at Manchester United, don't we? Why wouldn't we? Fantastic midfielder. I see him more as a box-to-box midfielder. I see him more as a replacement for Herrera. We spoke last week about Ndombele and how Manchester United are waiting on the Pogba situation. Look, every story we talk about, I say this every week, these are not stories that we're making up. These are stories that are in the press. I don't really want to make up stories from people, I could easily do a show and say, Verratti to United, what do you think? Well, there's no story about that at the moment. There's no link to Verratti. So as much as I'd like him, I'm not going to talk to you about that. I'll talk to you about what's in the press. And the great thing about Ndombele is it comes from Lyon's president. And Lyon's president has basically said there's 3 offers on the table for Tanguy and Ndombele. And he said if PSG come to the party, then it would be nice to sell him to PSG. I find this really weird. Because only 2 weeks ago, he was on about Pjanic going. I think Pjanic played for Lyon, didn't he? And they sold him to Juve, and they liked that relationship. So it'd be nice if Ndombele went to Juve. And now they're saying it'd be nice if he went to PSG. I mean, it would be like the Everton president saying, "Oh, it'd be nice if Richarlison went to Liverpool." I just don't get what's nice about keeping your talent in France and giving it to one of your rivals. So, but it was said, and it was said about Juventus as well. So, PSG obviously aren't one of the 3 clubs who's got an interest yet. I haven't put a bid in yet. Who are the 3 clubs? Well, Juventus are probably one. Hopefully we're the other, and one of the others. And who else? I don't know. Maybe Arsenal, maybe Man City, maybe somebody from Spain. I don't know. What are our chances of getting Ndombele? I would say pretty slim because of who we are at the moment. We're a Europa League side. And there's a lot of uncertainty about us. And I think if PSG come in for him, he's French, so that might be a big move for him. If Juve want him, that's a big move as well. You know, you've got Ronaldo and everything. So again, I think with Ndombele, we would have to be chucking him more money than everybody else, which, to be honest, we're very good at that, aren't we? We're very good at overpaying, so maybe that's our only hope. But again, I always start to get a little bit uncomfortable when it's about, oh, we're going to pay more money than everybody else. Again, I mean... But Ndombele at 22, he does fit the profile of a player who will want to go to his next club. It will be a step up from Lyon. It is about developing and becoming one of the best midfielders in the world. So I'd love us to get hold of Ndombele. But to me, when the president's coming out mentioning PSG, if they offer, and we've already got 3, as I said at the start, this is about a club that's trying to generate as much money as they can do for their player. And we say 60 million, but that could end up going up more. I mean, I've heard 80 million around him. So silly prices for players that are at a premium, and maybe there are better, there are better Parteys out there, and one of them's Thomas Partey. I mean, I'd be very happy with him, to be honest, and I think they can both do a similar role. But we'll have to wait and see. I do like Ndombele, I really do. Talking about PSG, I've left Kylian Mbappe in there. I mean, 180 million quid. That might be quite cheap for Mbappe. 20 years of age, quite simply one of the best forwards in the world at the moment, and quite easily the best young forward in the world at the moment. Would you like Kylian Mbappe at Manchester United? It's a bit like saying, would you like to eat some dinner in the next 2 weeks or not? I mean, of course you are. We're starving. So you would be if you didn't eat for 2 weeks. So Mbappe to Manchester United would be fantastic. I only mention it because United and Mbappe were mentioned, but this is all because Kylian Mbappe has basically mentioned that he may have to look for a new project if he can't get what he wants at PSG. I don't know what that is. I don't know whether it's because he wants to be the main man, doesn't want to be in the shadow of Neymar, or whether he does actually want to move. But if he does want to move, I'm sure Manchester United could afford him. I don't understand why he'd want to come. I suppose you could be loose around the word project and think, well, Manchester United's probably the biggest project in football at the moment. You can't get much lower, but we should be much higher. So that is a project. I mean, wouldn't it be great if Kylian Mbappe, De Ligt and Ndombele all went, you know what, sod going to Barcelona or Juventus, I actually want to go to Manchester United because it's a brilliant project. And it is, but I don't think footballers look at it like that. I think some managers do. They want to be the person who gets us back on top. I don't think there's many players who want to do that. So I don't see anything in Mbappe coming to Manchester United, to be honest with you. But he's very welcome if he wants to come and do the project here. It certainly is. And I would like him here. He cost a lot of money. I think 180 million might be a little bit cheap, really. I think he's probably worth 200 million, isn't he? He's right up there as one of the world's best players at the moment, and it's totally not going to happen. There's more chance of us signing Ronaldo, and that's not going to happen either. The centre-back situation for Manchester United is developing. Obviously, last night's show, if you haven't seen it, that's the update on Koulibaly. And I suppose Manchester United, look, I'm not being negative, we do need to look at alternatives. If you don't get De Ligt, which I don't think we will, if you don't get Koulibaly, Skriniar's off the table, Varane's very far-fetched anyway. What do you do if you can't get one of those 4 players? Because beyond those 4, I think they're the best targets for United as a centre-back. They're all very, very good. I'd be very happy with any of those. Beyond that, I think you start to look at people like Costas Manolas, who I'm not made up on, to be honest. But one player I think I would like, because he is Premier League proven, he is left-footed, he can bring the ball out from the back, and he is very, very good in the air, is Harry Maguire. But the interesting thing is, Manchester City are now looking for a centre-back because companies moved on. Now, maybe not as a first teamer. They've got John Stones, they've got Laporte, they've got Otamendi, they've got options, but they probably do want another centre-back. And Harry Maguire's being mentioned. Now, the interesting thing about Harry Maguire is I would be very, very surprised if Leicester let him go for anything less than 70 million, which means that he would have to be Man City's record signing because they haven't been above 60 million. Now, whether Man City would be willing to do that, I suppose with inflation, they're going to have to move that 60 up to something at some point. And I do think that Harry Maguire would be a very interesting signing for Manchester City because of the homegrown rule. So it may be that, for all those United fans out there, I don't want Harry Maguire, you may see Harry Maguire going to Manchester City. And this is what I mean. Obviously I want Koulibaly, obviously I want De Ligt. And Man City won't go for those because they're too expensive. Man City will not be going £80 million for a centre-back. They won't do that. But they might look at Harry Maguire and they might be able to get it down to about 60 million again, like I say. But all those United fans who say, I don't want Harry Maguire, he ain't quite good enough and this, that and the other. How ironic will it be if he goes to Manchester City? Because I think Pep would look at him and go, you know what? He's good. He can bring the ball out from the back. He's good in the air. He's a good centre-back. The only thing is, if you're Harry Maguire and you go to Man City, could you turn it down? Probably not, because there's opportunities there to win titles and earn a lot more money than at Leicester. But would he start for Man City? I don't think that he would. I don't think he would. I think that Laporte and Stones would probably be ahead of him. So whether he'd fancy that move, I don't know. Whether he'd fancy Manchester United, where we would say, look, if you're coming to us, you're starting every week, you're going to be the kingpin with Lindelof. That might be more attractive. But I suppose it depends whether we're in for him or not. That's the question to you lot. Would you take Harry Maguire at Manchester United? Does that make you feel a little bit more confident about him coming to United? If we can't get De Ligt, Varane, Koulibaly, if we can't get one of those, would you be happy with Harry Maguire? Because I would. I think he is the next one in line, to be honest with you. The next pretender to the throne. Oh, if you are a Game of Thrones fans, by the way, go to the Mark Goldbridge channel. I put my reaction up yesterday. You might find that quite interesting. I want to mention another player because a lot of people have said, can you mention Julian Brandt, who is the German left winger? He's available for £20 million. I don't know where this has come from. As far as I'm aware, he's not available for £20 million. I think he's got a couple of years left on his contract. He's young. He's only 23. So I would imagine he's available for about £45 million. He was heavily linked with Liverpool, and I think that would be a good move for him. He can play centrally. He can play off the right, but his best position's off the left. And I have concerns about us signing a left winger this summer because I think we have got options there. We have got options on the left, whether it's Martial or Rashford or even Chong can play out there. But we need a right winger. That's what we need. And for me, Brandt is not a right winger of the standard that that's not really his position. I think Manchester United need to be looking for Sancho's, Pepe's, Leon Bailey's. They need those sort of players. And also, Daniel James is a left winger anyway. So I don't think Brandt is a player that Manchester United will be looking at, but a lot of people asked whether I could look at it. So get your comments in below. Ndombele situation, what are you thinking about that? Do you think we can compete with Juventus and PSG to bring him to United, or is it we better off focusing our attention elsewhere? Would you have Mbappe at United for 200 million if it was on the table? Would you spend our transfer budget on Mbappe, I suppose, because we wouldn't get much else? Carrasco, how do you feel about Carrasco? I know a lot of you have been quite happy about him in the past and you're not too concerned the fact that he's in China. And Harry Maguire, how do you feel about Harry Maguire? Man City quite heavily linked with him now as a replacement for company. Would that make you happier that someone like Pep would take him? Would you want him at United? He does tick all the boxes. I think he does. He's good in the air. He can bring the ball out the back. He's a leader. And it would be a big step up for Maguire. And I think he'd embrace that and give us a bit of fight, which we need. We do need that. Anyway, please do drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Flex and Rant show going up at midday, and I'll be back at 8 o'clock with you tonight with a very, very special guest, actually. If you like your transfer news, you're going to enjoy the show at 8 o'clock tonight. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Speak to you all soon.